Hi guys, and welcome back to the Ground Pounder series. Today we're going to be talking about the large Alice pack. I've had quite a few of you ask me about the large Alice pack, and we will be doing a follow-up video later in the winter time period where I will show a winter loadout in a large Alice. But right now let's talk about the large Alice and the replica that is available. Now, the large Alice pack, the standard U.S. Army issue pack, was called the medium Alice, and it had 3 large pockets on it. The large Alice was even bigger, and it has additional pockets on it. Unstrap it right quick. Okay, the large Alice also had these large pouches up top. It had 3 additional pouches on the front face of it right here. Then it had webbing attachment points right here. And it still had the 2 holes with grommets in it, because even as late as the 1980s in U.S. military ordnance, in the supply chain, they still had the old World War II entrenching tools still floating around that were still there. Yes, we had the folding trenching tool, but they also had the old Korea War, World War II, early Vietnam type that had the big cover on it with the 2 hooks, the hook like hooked in the World War II belts. That's the reason they put them right there, so you could hook to it on here. So machete could hook to this. So an entrenching tool could hook to this, and other pieces of gear. A handgun holster for a 1911 could hook right there. Why you want to carry your handgun on your pack, I don't know, but it could hook. Okay? You had the large pouch, and you had an adjustable strap, and then you had the double snaps that allowed you to open it up to this large pouch. This one they have a drain hole down here in the bottom, a grommet, to let water out, and then this has the cinch cord where you could pull these tight. Now these were not on all of them. I have seen them that did not have this, because once you cinch down the top of this pocket, it's kind of difficult to get it out, especially after that, you know, got a little dirt in it and everything else. You couldn't get it to open back up easy. So what a lot of the guys did was they made liners that went into the inside of this, and that's one of the things you need to be aware of when using these. That large grommet there lets water out. It also lets water in. So if you set this pack down in the mud or the water would egress up. So they had these rubberized nylon liners that went into these pockets that you would wad up and tuck down. Rather than trying to cinch up this pocket, that's how you kept stuff in, was the liner that went inside of it. That way you would put this down, adjust this buckle, and then you would do the snaps right there. Notice it's on a loop where you can stick your fingers through, and you could snap it down tight. That way in an emergency you just grabbed it and snatched it open. In combat you could get to it in a hurry. The 3 front pouches are like that all the way across. Then you have the top 3 pouches right here. These were really used mostly for odd things, but ammunition. You got to remember, M16s, which today is the M4, there were stripper clips that came in a bandolier to recharge magazines. This was what that was, so you could stack those bandoliers, and that was an ammunition loadout place, see? So you have additional ammunition. There were other things that could also fit in there, but a lot of the guys would carry it. This was where they'd put their extra ammunition, easy to get to in a hurry and protected. These do not have a drain hole on them, and they have just a snap on top, and it's a relatively narrow pocket. But small personal items could also be carried up here. Then you have this cinch cord right here. The cinch cord allows you to open up the rucksack. Now inside the rucksack you have a shelf right here, sometimes called the radio shelf, or etc. For your items would be up here like tactical items. This is where you're putting your extra belt for the M60, your extra, claymore, etc. Up here on the top, this was a press and pull quick access. Underneath this is where you put your personal items down here in the bottom. Sleeping bag, carry gear, etc. went down there. And then, like I said, there was a sideways and two, a sideways and two. So you could put a compass pouch on here with a first aid or whatever. You could put a full-size med kit onto here, all kinds of things. That was the problem. This pack could be overloaded very easily. My personal experience with the Alice pack, because I dealt with it in a non-combat setting, was this was the winter pack for me. Because in the summertime, the regular medium Alice was more than adequate for basic camping needs. It was in the winter when you had that big bulky sleeping bag, that big bulky, shirts, long underwear, etc. You needed bulk. The weight didn't go up a huge amount, but the bulk sure did. Big socks. That's where this big pack came in for me, was putting them in here as a winter camping set. And that's predominantly the way I think of it, is the winter bag. Okay? Now it fits, also the big old flap opens up, commonly called the mat pouch. So the flap to the rucksack had a container in it as well. But you can put mats or small quick grab stuff into there. Then you had the frame, which is a standard Alice pack frame. It fits either the medium Alice or the large. It simply slides in. This handle right here, I have demonstrated in my How to Modify an Alice Pack, and I believe that's in the Ground Pounder series. But I say all my tips and tricks for an Alice Pack, and I'll show you how we make this carry handle. That's just simply 3/8 inch fuel line and some bank line hooked to the frame. Then you got the pad down here, and then there is a belt. I got it folded back in, but the belt comes around and anchors in the front for the load bearing, the weight belt. This is the modern replica that you can buy today. The reason I say replica is these large Alices have become quite expensive for some reason. I can remember when you could buy a large Alice for 10 bucks because they were surplus and nobody wanted the big thing because it was too big. You could put way too much gear in it where you did not want to haul this thing because it would hold 100 pounds of gear, But these were used as tool bags, pack baskets. You put, Dave Canterbury, you saw in some of his early videos where he would put a trash can down into a pack. I've seen that done with these as well. Turned it into a sort of pack basket for work, for hunting, for camping, for fishing, etc. I've seen them converted over that. The modern replica, and this one I got both of these from Kaufmans Military Surplus. This one is a modern replica that's around $60-something now. Those on the surplus market run $80 to $120 depending, with a frame or without a frame. The large Alice are becoming expensive. We're living in a time when, believe it or not, there is now Vietnam reenactors. Remember, there were Civil War reenactors, World War I reenactment, World War II, Korea. Well, now there are Vietnam reenactors, and they're looking for all this old surplus gear for their reenactment of it, so they become collectible now and valuable. And so what was the cheap surplus is becoming expensive, And so finding a nice, pristine, mint condition, large Alice, that could be a $150 pack to the right collector. So therefore, that's where it's coming from. These are being made over in China, and they've got the same basic idea of the features, but there are some shortcomings, and let me show you that right quick. These are a good pack and would be a good choice if you're just simply interested in it, like I said, for a winter pack or something where it's not going to be that great deal of weight, but it's more of the bulk, okay? And if you're looking for something because you're an old silver wolf like me, and you're doing pretty much car camping where we're going to go to a location, we're going to put this on and we're just going down from here to the water, it's going to be a short mile or two hike, excuse me, something like that, then this would serve very well. You don't have quick detach buckles. It has the standard old style buckle that you have to pull this through. Typically what they did is you pulled it slack, and then you'd flip the straps out of the way. Like this. It also has a pocket with Velcro in the pack lid, and it has an ID in it. Then you come into this one has a different kind of shock cord, but it does have a shock cord right there, if you pull. The front pouches are smaller than on the original Alice by a couple of inches, and they don't seal up as tight at the top. Then your main body down here is a little bit smaller again, but it does have the two snap opening. It does not have the drawstring. And this has been coated to keep for waterproofing on the inside. You would still want to use some sort of liner in there to protect your gear. The pocket does have a grommet for draining, and the main body does have multiple drain grommets in it. It has less connectors. It does have these, but these grommets don't line up for the old World War II. If you will look, I'll get you a close-up for this in just a second. Okay, here is the original Alice, and see, here are the grommets for that connector for the World War II type connection. Here's the knockoff, completely different. They're just two grommets stuck in there. They don't really come useful. It should be about where my fingertips are, and they're way out here, so it will not fit like that. You do have a pass-through. You do have a pass-through, and you do have a side pass right there, and you do have a pass-through, and you do have a side pass on the side. Here are the drain grommets on the replica. Here they are on the original. Here is the size of the top pouch. Here is the size of this pouch. A good, say, 2 inches shorter in size. The main body pouch is probably pretty comparable to the main body outer pouch in size. And it does have the snaps on it, like I said, right here. It does have the snaps. Now in the main body, you do not have the quick opening buckle. On the Alice, you have this one that you just press your thumb and it slides. On this one, you have you got to lace it out buckle. Okay, and the grommet on this one is simply a small cord lock. On this one, it's grommeted and it's got the bigger cord lock. This is a Cordura, and then it's got a vinyl-like lining on the front face, but not on the back face of it. So it will probably be not nearly as waterproof. Okay, now in carrying, it's in suspension, it's big, leaning toward. The frame on the Alice is a much heavier construction than the Chinese. This is more than adequate for basic camping and stuff, but you wouldn't want to put super heavy loads in it. It's just spot welded to be roughly the same shape as the US issue, but it is not the quality of the US issue. That's pretty obvious. Alright, this is the weight belt on it. Nice big 1/2 inch thick padded. This is the weight belt on the knockoff, much thinner, and it's only held by this little bitty strap and these great big grommets. On the US government one, see how it's wide to keep this in the center. This one is just going to bunch up to the top. Okay, the shoulder straps on this are book bag thin. I do have one of the shoulder straps. It would fit like this onto there, and you can see how thick and the size of that compared to the knockoff. Okay, the attachment at the top is this thin little piece of metal right there going to the strap, where this one would actually anchor to the frame through them grommets. See, so it is quite a bit of difference in the support side of it. So if you're looking to do heavy duty camping with durability in mind, and we're looking at true weight, because you guys may live up in the cold country. As I said, to me this is a winter pack. I live in the deep south. 8 months out of the year I'm more interested in trying to stay cool than trying to stay warm. To my northern friends it's the reverse. Y'all spend 8 months trying to stay warm and only 4 months trying to stay cool. So a bigger pack may just be what you need up in your neck of the woods. Does this pack serve a purpose? Absolutely. If you like the design, and like I said, you're not carrying a great deal of weight, this will be more than adequate for just plain old camping, you know, for an overnighter or something like that, short hike, that type deal. It does not have a quick disconnect on the straps, whereas the military one does. But this is a good deal cheaper. This one runs about $50 to $60, $65, just depending. And they do have these at Kaufman's Military Surplus for the imported large Alice packs. I think she quoted me a price of like $60, $65. I may not be exact. At the time when you're watching this video, it may have changed. I will put in the description box where to contact the ladies. As far as these, they're a hit and miss you got to look for. As far as the original, you can find them at garage sales, yard sales, stuff like that. It is obviously a much more durable pack, and the frame system and suspension system is a lot better made, more comfort and etc. So if you're looking for durability and true weight bearing, this would be the choice. If you're looking to save some money, you like the design, you like the features, but you're more in the light weight of carrying, you're trying to keep your pack under 35, 40 pounds, this would probably be more than adequate. You may want to add a little heavier straps, but those are available, and this could be retrofitted with original straps, would fit onto it. So you could put a heavier set of shoulder straps, and you probably could put an actual military issue weight belt onto the thing. It's got the positions to put it, it's just a lighter weight frame, but it could handle your standard camping load of 30 pounds, something like that, should be fine. If you're one of those guys, you're looking for something to go to the high country and you're going to have a 50-pound pack, I'd recommend this over the Chinese Info. I know that's kind of wishy-washy, but I'm trying to be realistic for you guys. For the people that's on a budget and can't afford the high dollar, finding one on surplus may be the way to go. If not, finding one of the replicas may be the way to go. I hope this explains and answers a couple of questions about features and use. And like I said, in an upcoming video later this winter, I will fill out a large Alice in a camping set where I will pack it as I did back in the day of putting the sleeping bag in, the long handles, everything else, utilizing my pockets as a system. I use the lower pockets where my food stuffs, my upper pockets were personal items, things like that, and then on the side flaps I put first aid kit, compass pouch, etc. onto it. So it's one big carrying unit. Hope you've enjoyed this, guys. If you have, please hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And there'll be more videos coming up in the near future. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.